Welcome to Odisha State Open University. Sometimes you may not capture all visual elements in a single frame, or you may want to remove some element in a scene and add some other element to make it more beautiful. In such a situation, the techniques of compositing play a very significant role. Compositing, in very simple language, is the process of combining two or more visual elements to form a single image or scene. It creates an illusion that all those elements are parts of one single image scene. It is a kind of manipulation of visual elements. It can range from the simple thing like changing out a sky or background to the complex things such as creating an entirely new image from a collection of different photos. Today, mostly though not all, compositing is achieved through digital image manipulation. In this video, we will learn about compositing and its different techniques. Compositing is a process where you take visual elements from different places to compose new image or scene. In this process, attempt is made to produce images or scenes which look real. One must be able to believe that everything in the scene was photographed at the same time by the same camera. It can be in the simplest form like placing one image on top of another, or building like text, still images and live action footage to create a more complex composition. Here you can, after combining two images, create one single image. All kinds of compositing involve the replacement of selected parts of an image with other material usually, but not always, from another image. In digital compositing, the practice is that the software program designates a narrowly defined color as part of an image to be replaced. Then it replaces every pixel within the designated color range with a pixel from another image. It makes it appear as part of the original image. An image is made up of pixels which consists of position and color information. When two images blend together, it can be termed as alpha blending. Here the image 1 is existing or background layer. The image which is brought in is termed as foreground layer. Then the opacity value or value of the foreground image is reduced so that it does not merge with the background and create a composed output. There are two technical methods of compositing. The first one is node-based composition, which refers to the mixing of images from two different sources. It is very effective for still frame composition, but not very good while handling keyframe, and time of real-time editing is very poor. In layer-based compositing, the image and effects are stored in individual layers. The layers are stacked one over the other as per the editing requirement, and each layer has its own keyframe track. Each and every layer can be given motion individually. Compositing is often used for 2D content or two-dimensional content, layering multiple images and print for still images in advertisements, print publications and websites. The technique is also used in animation where parts of the character and backgrounds are layered to make it easier to animate moving parts and eliminate the need to redraw parts that remain unchanged. For television, compositing on green screens is often used to provide virtual backgrounds and sets. The combined layering technique is also used in motion pictures. Now obviously there are some rules in how compositing is done, and the most popular among them or the most common technique is the rule of thirds. This is done to achieve balance in composition. If you subdivide your photo into thirds, both vertically and horizontally, you will get an evenly spaced grid. The sections where lines cross are called points of interest. These points are where your subject, parts of the image that you want to draw attention to are placed. Though you get 4 points, you hardly will use all of it. Mostly you can use 1 or 2. This also creates balance in your composition. Now remember that position also matters. The position of a visual element in relation to the overall image or scene and the frame play a role in creating a perceived value of the element. Similarly, the size of the image element connotes importance. As larger the subject, the more is its importance. It also conveys spatial relationships. As smaller objects recede, you can get good composition schemes by overlapping, repeating, and varying the size of visual elements. Shape and form are also important in compositing. The more unusual the shape, the more our eyes are attracted to it. Whenever you separate a subject from its environment, you draw attention to it. Depth can be shown by using shadow, lighting, and perspective. Texture and details create interest. The surface quality of an image or subject can create much visual interest to an image. Too smooth and perfect subjects seem artificial and cold. Adding painting, drawing can generate more interest. Differentiated patterns make the scene memorable as well as beautiful. You should focus what you want to highlight. Making less important image areas softer and more important ones sharper focuses the viewer's attention on the sharper of the two. By softening less important image areas, the sharper ones will look even sharper, as the contrast between soft and sharp is then heightened or increased. The negative space or the background should not compete with the subject. It is important to manage tone and color aesthetically to give excellent result to your composition. Our eyes are attracted to contrast, but too much contrast results in loss of shadow and highlight detail and can become tedious to view. Too much color or chaotic use of color makes the composition incomprehensible, and too little color is unstimulating for our visual system. Now here are some artistic scenes you should use while compositing. Using symmetry in a composition or image creates an amazing view. It creates an attraction at the symmetrical point. An example of symmetry is the reflection of a subject in water or mirror. This also generates a wonderful composition. In symmetrical compositions, it is better to add the highlighted subject in the center of a frame. You should also consider frame within a frame. There are compositions in which a scene is seen through a door or a window which consists of a frame. Give more focus to the subject of the composition. This creates a focus on the output area. Image composition of pathways leading to a destination catch the eyeballs of the audience. The lines need not be straight always. A curved pathway also does the same leading work. There are examples of flowing water, moving cars on a road, etc., which leads the photo to a destination. The representation of images can be divided into shapes. Some shapes automatically appear during a perspective shot of building, a bird's eye view of a mountain, and other examples. So always try to make composition in triangles forming diagonal lines. In composition, odd numbers of elements create more attraction than even numbers. This rule is followed by professionals but not accepted by everyone. In a composition, the main element has to be focused and fit in the frame. In case of a face of an animal photo, we have cropped it till its face, even eliminating the outer border. This helps in focusing only on the face of the animal. Simplicity means to focus only on one segment. This is done in composition by using multiple layers. The content in the background layer, which is sharp, can be blurred artificially using the blur filter of the computer software. We always read text from left to right, hence we have the same pattern in images also. That means we look at it from a left to right perspective. So the flow of information or movement in any composition has to be displayed from left to right. The subject for composition is taken from different point of view or can be simply termed as taking photography from different camera angles. The subject for composition depends on the interpretation of the subject. If we are taking a photo for composition of a character or a model, it has to be taken from eye level or from a bottom angle. If we have to take a photo for composition of a scenery, then obviously wide angles are used from the bottom to top as required. This balance is created by the sizing of the elements in some places and by color specifications in another. The composition of dark background with a bright text brings the subject into focus. Today we discuss some basic techniques and elements of compositing an image or a scene. It is not only limited to digital photography, it is also used in television and cinema industries. Presently, though computers play an important role in compositing, it was in practice even before computers. It is an interesting skill and has the power to make an otherwise boring project outstanding. With compositing, you can widen your imagination and create exciting images.